Hey, what's up, y'all? This is the Will and Deshaun show, and I am Deshaun.
And it's Will.
Will, how's everything going?
Everything is going pretty good. How are things with you?
Everything's great on this Valentine's Day Eve.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
The eve of Valentine's Day.
You got your Valentine?
I do.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Who's your Valentine?
I can't say that on air.
Oh, you don't disclose.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I am loved. That's all that matters.
I know that's right. You better have some love in your life.
Exactly. Do you have a Valentine?
I do not.
Oh,
I'm
why?
I'm
Back on the
single
prowl?
again. Back on the
I
prowl.
thought it was perfect.
I don't know how.
But anyway, before we get off topic, we're here to talk about Dwayne Wade's daughter and everything that's going on with that. I don't know a whole lot about it. I should, but what I do know is, correct me if I'm wrong, Will. Dwayne Wade announced that they are now. His son has now changed his name to a female name, right?
To Zaya.
To Zaya. And his son now wants to be called feminine pronouns, right?
Yes.
Okay.
She wants to go by feminine pronouns.
Okay.
You know, she, her. And he also, she, see, it's kind of hard to get the language right. She's going to live her life as a woman. I mean, as a girl.
Okay.
Because she's not a woman yet. But
Right.
she's going to live her life as a girl. And, you know, we had this kind of conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say this. Zaya is not my child.
No. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So, with that being said, how Dwayne and Gabrielle choose to raise their child,
as well as Zaya's real mom
and Zaya's biological mom,
right?
Who I don't even know if she's in the picture like that. Right. That's a whole nother topic for today.
Okay.
We
don't know their business enough to be known.
Right.
Yeah.
This is just our opinion,
right,
on what we think. I did post this question. Matter of fact, Tony was on the podcast at this time. I did post a question to you and Tony. If your child was just like Zaya, would you guys allow your child to transition? Now, with that being said, as of this point of what we know, Zaya's not transitioning.
What is there an age limit for transitioning?
I think it probably depends on state to state.
Okay.
Because I do know that some kids have transitioned at a younger age. There are cases where there are some trans kids. But I don't know when it comes down to surgically augmentating things.
Hormones and...
Now, I think some kids, they can get on, like I said, depending on state to state. Right. Some kids probably can get on hormones earlier. But I don't necessarily know about the surgical parts of it, as far as like getting breasts and if they want to have their bottom surgery, or top surgery if they're, both for. Anyway. Right. I love the way Dwayne Wade, as a black man, loves his child enough to allow his child to be who his child say she is. We don't normally get that in black families.
Right.
In all honesty, if that was me being Zaya and my parents, that would have been a hell no. My parents were going to call me, my name is Willie.
Will Keisha.
And if I wanted to go to buy Wilma or what, and that name is, I don't like Wilma. Let's just say I'll choose it. Or just say
Naomi.
Yes, Naomi. My parents like, your name is Willie, okay?
Right.
I don't know who Naomi is. They wouldn't be as affirming as Dwayne Wade is with his child.
Yeah, if I wanted to go by another male name, my parents would be like...
I go by Will now. My name is Willie, but I go by Will, and depending on who
my name is Thrasher,
what family member I'm around, because I have nicknames for different people in my family members. Right. They have nicknames for me. They call me by different names. one thing you hit on our last time we kind of talked about this is that because Dwayne Wade is wealthy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the wealth part helps and the, I guess, say acknowledgement or the education of dealing with a trans child.
Right.
Versus Mama Patterson and Mama Clay.
Right. Or Daddy Patterson.
Or Daddy Clay.
I feel like I think wealth plays a part because I just think they're in a different world. I think they're in a very different world and they're not just wealthy, they're like really rich.
Yeah, that's wealth.
Yeah. It's
rich and wealthy is totally two different things.
They're not just kind of like well off. They're like, I'm sure they're in the 100 million area.
Whoever their kids have kids,
right?
Still gonna have money.
So I think they just have a different life than the typical black experience. Not to say that they have, some similarities, of course, but it's different, and the timing is different as well. I'll say, you can't really tell nobody how to raise a child. You can't. So I'm not gonna say anything's wrong with it, but I also don't want to come out and say I'm like pro for what he's doing. I think it is what it is. If I had a friend, I always use if I had a friend or someone close to me or even a family member, a niece or nephew. If that's what your mama and your daddy want to do, by all means, I can't.
But what about
control
your child?
I wouldn't do it for my child.
You wouldn't.
You
wouldn't call your child by their female name that they want to be called?
I wouldn't do that. I personally, and then I ain't even got kids, so it's kind of hard for me to step in the shoes of someone who not only has kids, but has a kid who's in that situation. But I feel like, I don't know if I would let the reins loose on my child like that. Sometimes I feel like I always say kids need structure. And I don't know if that's and I don't want to say right or wrong, but that's the ideal thing to do. You know what I mean? So I feel like teaching your child to accept who they are and to love who they are, you don't necessarily have to change anything about them. That's what I kind of feel.
But I feel like is that for Dwayne Wade, that he is loving his child and he's allowing his child for his child to be who he is. I can personally say this: I never want to be trans. I'm not a trans person at all.
Right.
I am a gay black man. I had to suppress myself because of where how I was raised.
Right.
And like I said, and y'all know I have this conversation with you guys kind of often about how even now, me being gay and dealing with my family still is it's a gray area for me. Because I know how my family feels about gay people, and I know what happened to me in my adolescence of what they told me if I was gay and how they would treat me. Not to say that my parents have not evolved. That was when I was 16, 15, 16, 17. Now I am 38 years old. So, with that being said, of course, now I would have loved to have affirming father and mother, to allow me to be an openly gay teen. Versus me having to hide it to the point where I don't care anymore.
I think my thing is, in the child, he's so young. That's my thing.
That's what's that. This is the thing, and now I'm not gonna. And I know this is gonna sound kind of a little crazy, but it's just like how kids when they're younger they want to be a Power Ranger,
right?
But they grow out of that,
yeah.
Or they like football, and now they don't want to be football no more. But you allow your child to try all these different things, and maybe it could be the same thing with Zaya. Not to say, because she probably truly is being who she is. She's saying, "Hey, I am a girl."
I don't know. That for me, that's a sticky.
So they are allowing her to be a girl. He could change. When he probably turn a teenager, he probably want to be back to Zion. We don't know.
But where do you draw the line?
Well, I will say this: they don't really. He's not transitioning.
Right.
Like they have not done anything far as from our knowledge, physically, far as taking hormones or getting breast. They just allow him to maybe have on a article of girl clothing. Like he does, I don't never really see him with like a full dress on or stuff like that. Because from what I see, he still like one time he had on like some heel looking boots. Like, but he still had like what we would call male clothes.
Right.
Or he'll have his hair, his nails done, or he got like a crop top.
And I feel like it's one thing with clothes, and because I feel like clothes is expression more so, but it's another thing when you start to like really change or begin to change your physical identity and start to identify as something else.
But again, we also are speaking from cisgender men.
Right.
We're not transgender people, and we don't know the trans experience, so we don't have those thoughts.
I don't, but I still got an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we all got opinions.
Right.
That's why we're talking about it. But the thing is, so we don't know what Zaya is doing, is how her mind works.
Of course not.
And how she feels in the mind.
I don't even know Dwayne Wade. I don't even know nobody with trans kids. So I'm really, really, really outside the box. I ain't even got kids. So like I'm saying,
right, and that's why I was telling people. I was having this conversation with someone. I said, actually with my mom once, I told my mom, I said, your kids are grown and I don't have any.
Right.
So we can't tell people how to raise their children. Yes, we would like to suggest some things. Because my brother has kids. Right. Yes, I can suggest some things on what you can do for your kids.
Right.
But like I said when I was having a conversation with my mom, I said, Mama, your kids are grown and I don't have any.
Right.
So we can't necessarily tell people what to do with their children.
Exactly.
Or how we can allow their children to be who they are.
Right.
Like we can't police Dwayne Wade's child. Because at the end of the day, that's Dwayne Wade's child. Him and his mother, his biological mother, and Gabrielle Union. That's their unit.
Right.
That's something that they have to grow and have to, not say deal with, but learn how to cultivate their child with their child, one saying that their child is a female.
My question is, what does be who you are mean? Like, where does that... Because I don't understand that. Because it turns into... That's why I'm like, where do you draw the line? Like, so if I think I'm something, I can just be that?
Yeah.
Is that how it is?
Are you being who you are?
Yeah, but
so
it's like...
No, hold on. So what is being Deshaun?
I mean, for me, being Deshaun is...
It's what's natural to you, right?
Right.
It's the same for her.
But what I'm saying is, even if it breaks laws of nature and laws...
Where, again, we're not scientists.
Right. But even like if I say like Rachel Dolezal, if I say tomorrow I say I'm white, like where does the line, just because someone says they are so and so,
I'm gonna look at your skin and be like,
but someone could look at him and be like, so that's why I'm saying like where do you draw the line when someone just says I'm this?
I get it.
That's my only thing.
It's a very touchy subject.
But I ain't got no kids.
I get it 100%. And that's why I don't really like to get into the whole trans kind of conversation.
I don't either, right?
Because I'm not a trans person.
Right.
Also,
neither am I.
I don't have, like I said, we don't have children. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, with that also being said, like you said, what goes the difference between, like you said, how people crucified Rachel Dolezal for wanting to be transracial, quote unquote, because she feels that she's a black woman and she tried to live her life as such, even though her DNA and everything we see is you're a white woman,
right?
So I get it, but that also goes to like you kind of mentioned the nature thing. That also how the Hotepi people feel about gay men. They feel like that's also against nature.
But my thing with that is I'm naturally attracted to men. Like I get erections when I see men. So that's the difference between those two. Like with the Hotep thing, I'm doing was physically I'm naturally attracted to men. So I'm gay.
No. Right. See, that's against nature.
But to me, it's not against nature because I feel like all that is in the same thing.
Because it's supposed to be male and man and female, not male or woman on woman.
But I'm saying what's natural. I'm naturally attracted to men.
But again, right.
Right. But
Okay.
and Rachel Dolezal isn't naturally, but she woke up and felt like she was black. So like people say, okay,
there's a difference
black.
between for Rachel Dolezal per se. Let's say that's okay.
And I feel like the same thing with trans people. It's like all throughout your life, you're naturally, or whatever you want to call it, biologically, you're a female. But you woke up one day and felt like you was a male. Okay, so my thing is, where's the line? You know what I'm saying? Like, can you just naturally wake up one day and feel like you're whatever, and you can just change it?
So you feel, okay.
And if that's the rule, I'm cool. We can abide by it.
Let's go back to trans people,
right?
The transracial, but trans people. So do you feel as if someone is a male by birth,
right,
assigned by birth, as they say, but they are in their mind, they are more, like I said, we would say more, not say attracted to, or more lured to womanly things, or things that particularly like girls and women like.
Okay.
So do you feel like, so they just should be, I guess, gay versus being trans?
I don't think you need a title at all, to be honest. Like,
so people should just live and let live.
That's how I feel. Like, if you're a guy and you like to put on dresses, you like to wear makeup, you like to do whatever you want to do, I don't think there's something wrong with that. That's what you like.
So what's wrong? So what's wrong with someone? So what's wrong with someone transitioning to be a woman because they are a woman?
I think it's different when you start to get surgery involved and get.
So you just have a problem with the surgery,
and not even so much have a problem when it's kids. That's my thing.
Okay.
When you grown, you do what you want to do. And if any of y'all want to transition, please know I would love you all the same. We can still hang out. That's your thing. But it's like, again, like, where do we draw the line?
Yeah, when it comes down to, if I had a child,
right, and
my child name is Michael,
right,
and they told me their name is Michelle, and they want to be Michelle, I will allow you to be Michelle, but we will hold off on the transitioning part until you get older.
Right.
I will be as just like Dwayne Wade, and cultivate my, because at the end of the day, like you said,
like those things are hard.
Let's just say bye.
Yeah.
You tell me at 10, 11 you want to be Michelle. Okay, like you said, all right. We'll see. I'll see if you still feel those same way when you're 15.
Right.
Because you could possibly grow out of that.
Right.
And not necessarily saying that that's something you grow out of, because a lot of people are gay and that's something that people think is a phase and we're going to grow out of that. But I hear a lot of people, see, here's the thing, because I hear, when it comes down to, I will go back to the gay thing. When I hear gay people talk, or gay men, how they say they had an attraction when they was like 5 and on the playground and stuff like that, to me that baffles me, because I personally I was not thinking about, like, sex wasn't.
I wasn't either.
That wasn't thought about.
But my response to that is everyone has their own journey.
Yes.
That's.
With that being said, most of the time, for most people, when they hit puberty is when the whole sex thing kind of clicks on for you.
Right.
Or you know about the different anatomies from different people of both the opposite sex, but it was the necessary.
Definitely not at 5 for me.
But I want to look like, ooh, them titties.
Right.
Like, ooh, that's a vagina.
Right.
Or whatever people was.
And people wake up to different things at different ages.
Yeah, and this is true. Like I said, for me, when I was a teenager, when I got into my teens, I liked girls. Mm-hmm. But then by the time I got in 8th grade, I saw Calvin.
Right.
Ooh. But then when I was in high school, it was like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? So as I, was in doing that hormonal time Calvin, and stuff like that, it was like, yes. And then when I actually finally kissed a boy or whatever, I was like,
and he liked it.
I liked it. And it felt, it felt right. Like I had girlfriends and I kissed girls and stuff like that. But when I had an encounter with a guy, it felt right.
Right. Like I said, everyone has their own journey. What's natural? It felt natural, right?
Yeah.
Because you were naturally attracted to men, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and what I'm saying is, if you naturally feel a certain way, there's nothing wrong with being that way, and you can be that way. But when you start to physically change yourself, I don't know if the promotion of that is always a great idea.
I don't necessarily see that being promoted, honestly. Most people who do transition at with either late teens or like early 20s, and some people like Caitlyn who transition way later.
Right.
So like I said, it's to each his own when it comes down to being a trans how and when you want to transition.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I like being a male. I prefer being a man. I don't want to be a woman. Right. Yes, I might like men like women do, but that ain't my thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like inside that I want to be a girl, or because maybe I can get to trade more and become girl.
Do you think some people think that?
Yes. And that's just some people, and I think do feel like it's my honest opinion. I really do. Some people feel, because you go through those quote unquote slightly kind of confusing things in your mind a little bit, and some people feel like, well, if I'm a girl, I can get boys, and I can get the boys to be attracted to me, or because sometimes dealing with religion and different your family traditions and stuff like that. Some people feel like, well, because you weren't allowed, being a boy and a boy ain't right, so let me be a girl and be with a man. You know what I'm saying? It be all kind of things. It's a lot of different scenarios.
The mind is a very interesting place.
Yeah, it's a lot of different scenarios. Again, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not transgender.
Right, and even if tomorrow you woke up and said, you know what, Deshaun, I think it's time for me to go. I would say, you know what, Will, I support what you do. We're going to take this one step at a time. You know what I'm saying? We're going to take it one step at a time.
You ain't got to worry about that because that ain't happening.
But, because I don't want to sound like I'm anti-trans, because I'm not.
He is. No, I'm joking.
But I do.
Deshaun is anti-transitioning. It's not the trans.
But even with transitioning, it's like, if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. I'm not big on a whole lot of cutting this off, taking these, taking that, taking this. Because I feel like it's almost, to me, it's kind of a self-hate type of territory. It's a sticky situation. I got a distant cousin who transitioned, and I don't feel any different.
So again, if you had a child, you would not allow your child to. You wouldn't call your child out their female name that they want to have.
No, I'll say no. You're Deshaun Jr.
Does she want to just be Shauna?
Shauna. I say no. You're gonna be Deshaun Jr. Now, you want to be a cheerleader? Sure, you can be a cheerleader. I will support you doing whatever you want to do, but I will, because I feel like me teaching you that is teaching you to have pride in who you are. Like, what's wrong with being who you are, who you were born to be? Like,
she's still gonna be Shauna.
Now, when you turn 18 and you say, "Daddy, I'm Shauna. My name is Shanae," whatever. I say, you know what? You are a grown you are a grown woman. And you can
do whatever.
Okay. You love the way I walk, okay? Because I walk with a vengeance.
So, oh God, I just actually lost my train of thought. What I was going to ask you. When it comes down to, like you said, because at the end of the day, people gonna do what they want to do. Okay. When they're allowed to do what they want to do. Again, I would be person. I would. When it comes down to getting to the transitioning part, we'll have that conversation when it's time. I would not allow you to transition as a child. No.
And who got money for that, child?
They do.
Okay.
We don't.
Obviously, they got money for a lot of things.
They can adopt me. Okay.
Okay.
Me. So do you think? Oh, it came back.
Call me Sean.
Do you think that there is an agenda?
I don't know if it's so much an agenda. I'll say this about agendas. I think everything. There's agendas everywhere. I'll say that. Now, what agendas are trying to do, I don't know, but there's an agenda for every group of people all the time. So I'm not going to say agendas are conspiracy theories, but I'm not going to sit up here and act like agendas don't exist.
No, because I feel as if, okay, I would say, well, because we're talking about Dwayne Wade's daughter now. Mm-hmm. Well, people feel like, well, if they're pushing that, it's an agenda, and now kids will have this thing in their mind, and they'll be influenced to say, "Oh, now I want to be a girl too, because Zaya's a girl."
I mean, you could say that because they do have a platform, and they did take it to the mainstream media, and we're talking about it. But maybe they also feel like there are other children who need to see a child like theirs. They may feel that way.
That's exactly how I feel about it.
I don't think the parents, just because I don't necessarily agree with what they're doing, have negative intentions. Or bad influences.
Yeah,
they may be doing what they feel is in their heart of hearts is right.
Yeah, because there are people. I will always say this because I know they always talk about this whole pushing the gay agenda, the LGBTQ agenda on children. Because that's always always thinking about the children.
Right.
You're pushing crack at them. You're pushing all of this stuff. This stripper agenda and this baby mama and baby
like I said, it's agendas everywhere. Okay.
Right. So, but they don't want to talk about that.
Right.
But they're pushing the gay agenda. Mm. Again, you and I both grew up in a certain age. We basically grew up. We born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, in the 2000s, in the early 2000s. There were no gay people on TV, besides like RuPaul.
Okay.
That was the only other gay person. Right. So we were not influenced, and we didn't become gay because of what we saw on TV.
Definitely.
All we had was straight stuff. And you and I both grew up in a 2-parent household. Because a lot of times people be saying, well, people that grow up with their mothers and stuff like that, neither one of us, from my knowledge, were molested.
I have not been molested.
So also people always try to say that as well. So with that being said, we still became out gay.
Right.
And we didn't have nothing on TV to tell us that gay was okay.
Right.
I wish I had representation. I told you the only time in my life where I had finally seen myself was when Karamo was on The Real World. That's the first time I saw a black gay man who I looked like, who I identified with.
When I saw Karamo, I was like, oh my God, he's gay? Like, I couldn't even understand it.
I was so happy. I was like, what? That's me. Like, I see me.
How old were you? Because I don't even think I knew I was gay yet.
When did that... I was a teenager.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Either I was here to be a teen or my early 20s. Maybe like going on like 20.
Right.
When that probably came out. But again, I finally identified, like I said, we had the RuPaul. I won RuPaul. Right. I had the church gays and the church queens and people, all that stuff that I seen. I wasn't that. Everybody got a gay uncle, quote unquote. I wasn't that. Right. The flamboyant person that they know. I was not that. No matter how people try to maybe put those labels on me, that was not me. Right. And that's not how I identified. Right. Until I saw Karamo, it was like, wow, there's somebody else out there like me.
Right.
Now, again, Karamo is an adult. He's grown and he is who he is. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He has embraced himself fully, which I love. Mm-hmm. But at that time, being a young person that I was, who had no example or didn't know anybody else who was like me. Right. In that sense. Like I knew a lot of gay people who were flamboyant or, was flamboyant or obvious gay, but I never knew anybody who was like me. Right. And he was the example of me. So that's what I can say. So it's not necessarily a gender. So sometimes in their case, I feel like, again, do what you want, they're grown, and stay child. Because there are probably children who look at Zaya and say, wow, that's me. Right. Now I can explain to my parents how I feel because I see Zaya and I feel like Zaya. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's how I kind of look at it.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I don't think they have negative intentions or, are trying to do anything else. But, like I said, I don't have children. And I can't tell anyone how to raise their child. And I don't even know Dwayne Wade. Or do I know anyone who has that I know of has a transgender child. Or trans child, you know what I'm saying? Or even gay child. I don't know. But, if I was in their situation, I don't know if I would be down for that.
Okay. So, and I would. So thank you guys for listening. Give us your feedback. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell to see every time we upload a podcast. You can also follow us on all social medias at The Will of Deshaun Show. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me at Best of Black. You can follow Deshaun at Deshaun Duran. Also, drop down in those comments. Let us know, would you allow your child, if your child said they want to be called a female, Or if you have a daughter and they say they want to go by a male name, would you do it? Would you allow it? And why? And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.